A Village Romance by Izzy Abrahmson. Read by Mark Binder. A Village Romance by Izzy Abrahmson. Read by Mark Binder. Introduction. On the edge of the Black Forest, in a part of the world that was sometimes Poland, sometimes Russia, briefly Austria, and maybe Germany, there was a small Jewish village called Chelm. You may have heard of Chelm. Its neighbors thought the Chelmener were fools and told stories that spread around the world. Chelmener is the Yiddish word for the village of Chelm. There's a glossary at the end of the book, but since you're listening to the audiobook, you'll probably get the meaning based on context. The villagers themselves were ordinary people. Perhaps they knew what others said of them, or perhaps not. As the wise Rabbi Kibitz often said, "What? I can't hear you." In Chelm, they lived as anyone does. They worked and ate, learned and laughed. They made mistakes, and of course, they fell in love. Chapter 1. Why the Bride and Groom Are on the Wedding Cake. Once upon a time, in the quiet village of Chelm, a man and a woman stood under the chuppah to be married. Jacob and Sarah were very much in love. He was the best-looking young man in Chelm, and she was the most beautiful young woman. They were intelligent, kind, caring, thrifty, brave, and did I mention kind? They had courted for many, many years, since they were children. In fact, they had grown up together, next-door neighbors, and now Jacob and Sarah were about to join with each other for the rest of their lives in marriage. Surrounding the chuppah, crammed into the packed to overflowing social hall, were so many family and friends that it seemed as if the entire village had been invited. "A wedding," said Rabbi Kibitz as he stood before the couple. "A wedding is a mystical ceremony. With a few sacred words, a bond is made, and then, for the rest of eternity, the two participants' fates and lives are no longer separate, but one." Sarah looked at Jacob, and she smiled. Her husband-to-be smiled back. Rabbi Kibitz glanced at the couple. Such a happy pair. He glowed inside. Jacob pronounced the words of the hooray and gave Sarah a golden band. The ketubah was read, and even though the glass hadn't been broken, a joyous cheer of Mazel Tov rose up and nearly lifted the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?